Hello everyone. Today we are going to speak about service chaining on a very high level solutioning, how service chaining work or service insertion, and what our presentation would look like, and it will follow the agenda like how security works in today's enterprise world. I mean, what all the ways you can secure your overall network, either it's a branch network or your data center network or the communication between the two. Along with we are going to see that some pros and cons. I mean, what are all the plus and minus of this particular security based solution, right? Then we will see that what can be done to have some sort of balanced security architecture or balanced security framework or balanced security based model. Then we will see on a very high level solution like what is service chaining or service insertion, which can be done by any vendor technology. That is a high level solution. Then with the wrap up of the overall session, we will see how Cisco's SD-WAN service chaining concept work along with some live demo of the traffic pattern by applying the policy and making use of redirecting the traffic with some intelligent algorithm or with some intelligent route mechanism which is happening called as service chaining. Okay, so let's kick off. So in today's world, how security works in today's world? If you see the in normally the architecture consists of either data center or a branch location with having connectivity between them, either with means of transport medium called, which is well known called MPLS or internet, whatever you say. So what are all the ways you can secure your application or sensitive data based on your policy or the company's policies requirement, right? Either you can do security at a branch level, but that will give you a stronger security control, no doubt in that, because you're blocking the traffic, even not even landing onto your transport medium, not even touching the data center. But you can see lots of disadvantages also. You will need to have multiple operational touch points. What that means is you cannot have a branch of one branch or one data center. It could be a 50 branch or 100 branches, 250 branches. So you can think about firewall at each device or each location, managing operational costs, CAMAX costs, and operational costs would be high. And the management of the devices will become a cumbersome exercise for any engineer or for any enterprise level, right? The overall architecture is a distributed architecture. So the complexity of maintaining the policy symmetry is become another problem. So you have to see that what policy is being applied at each branch location should need to match as per your enterprise corporate policies. Definitely is a high cost based solution because you can think about 250 branches with 250 firewalls. The dollar value will be rising like anything, right? So what is another way? So another way is security at a data center, which is standard what we normally do in most of the designs in for lots of large enterprise customer. But that results in suboptimum user experience. So why I'm saying suboptimum user experience is every branch location need to talk to every branch. I mean, every user in the branch wants to talk to any application in data center or any application in cloud. It need to traverse all the way along the MPLS or the internet to your data center. Then the policy has been checked at your data center level. Then based on the rules which are being allotted for that particular session, the traffic actually lands or permitted to go into the specific destination server. It could be your in-house data center application, or it could be your what do you say application on your cloud, right? It could be said that as an apple to apple comparison, what we said on security data branch or security data center. Yes, the operational touch point is very few because it's a centralized concept and the lower cost. But the user performance of hopping out from all the way from branch to a data center, and the check happens, that would be a really not that particular of user experience what it gets. Think about something. If a branch location wants to talk to another branch location, but your corporate policy says that you need to have a firewall. So all the way the traffic goes to your data center to get a firewall engine scanning, and that particular firewall rules once based on the application that it requires to be permit or denied then it goes to the branch 2 location based on whatever you have whatever you have applied onto the firewall. So you can think about the suboptimum user experience. It's not that particular content. Not particular user experience. What you can actually think about, what is required for end user. So what can be done for a balanced security for any customer, or you can say for any enterprise customer? So you can think about with our standard architecture of security branch and data center. You should think about someone who is sitting in between, where your user experience of performance is also catered, and you have a simplicity in operation with an optimum cost. So what we say is a regional hub, which is having a centralized firewall or some sort of firewall engine, and your branch traffic no need to go to your data center. It will go directly to your regional hub, or maybe some sort of regional hub is one of the thing, and another also security as a service in your cloud. So those are the key prominent solution which will balance the security architecture in WAN, or maybe in data routing, data network, compared to what we do in today's world, either at a data center, either what we do at a destination or at its source, right? So how that is achieved, that comes with a concept name called service insertion or service chaining. So with the word itself, the solution defines service insertion or service chaining. We are inserting some services between the two endpoints. We are stitching something. So that is called service insertion or service chaining. So one endpoint wants to talk to another endpoint. There are services being stitched or inserted between the communication channel, and it could be placed anywhere to make a very effective and zero complex architecture with the best way use of the actual services which is meant to do its work. That is the basic definition of a service insertion or chaining. How that is happens in SD-WAN scenario, that is we are going to see in our next slide. So what is service chaining on a very high level? You can see on this particular solution, slide I have just shown, that you have a data center and a branch and a regional hub, and you have firewall sorry and you have firewall at the regional hub, and I have not placed the firewall at the data center, so that you can still have the better performance for user not directly going to your data center all the way from one end to another end. It can actually come to your regional hub and get the policy scan and permit the traffic based on that. So if you see, the traffic pattern is the branch wants to talk to your data center, or branch wants to talk to your another branch. It will be redirected to your regional co-located hub, where the firewall policy engine will be permitted or denied, and based on that it will be sent to your data center or a branch or your any cloud-based application. So what benefit it actually gives you? As I said, it's a cloud application. It says the service chaining is not even going to directly to data center. So you can think about that you're not actually exhausting or bursting the data center pipe, which we normally do as a centralized location. So your data center applications are still having a high performance, and users get a better performance of access of the application, because not all the traffic which is meant for the data center application is directly bombarding onto the data center centralized bandwidth pipe. So it can be actually redirected to somewhere nearest co-location, and based on the actual rules permitted, then only the actual legitimate and permitted traffic is coming. So it is not something a traffic which is really not required for a data center pipe. After scanning and permission, only the approved traffic is actually entering into your data center application. The same thing with your cloud-based application, right? So those are the things which actually gives an enhanced performance, and you can better leverage the bandwidth which is actually meant for data center on an effective way. So how Cisco's SD-WAN service insertion or chaining solution works is, Cisco come up with a concept of the Viptela V edges or Cisco V edges devices, which is placed on each and every location, either it's a regional hub or remote office or data center, and a firewall which is going to be inserted as a service will be connected with that particular V edge. And what happens that all these remote locations and connectivities are connected with some sort of MPLS or internet or 4G. And as you know that vSmart is the brain of the overall architecture, which is mainly to help you out to push the policies across your all the VH devices based on the policies which has been created, that branch 1 should not talk to branch 2, or data center should be default route for branch 1 location or site IDs. All those type of policies you can template, or policies you can create, and you can manipulate the routing traffic based on very simplicity understanding of the policies. So what happened with service insertion is the device firewall which is actually connected with the VH device. That particular device will advertise as a service advertisement to your vSmart controller on your OMP, I mean overlay management protocol, and vSmart controller then will push the same updates to rest of your VH devices based on the policies what you have created and the direction. I mean, in what direction it need to be applied. For example, that remote office should not talk to branch. I mean, should not talk to any other in data. Should not talk to data center directly. It should go via your regional hub. So, vSmart controller will apply that particular policy by taking the service tag of that regional hub, because it will say that regional hub has a service inserted, or a service chaining has been connected on that particular service VPN, which would be VPN 10 in our VPN 11 in our case, and the location which are having the service VPN 11, and based on the policy what we have created in this particular scenario, what we are saying is remote office should not talk to data center directly. It has to talk via regional hub. So that policies will be sent by vSmart controller to that particular specific remote office, and as well as from the data center on an outbound direction. So direction is the key. So I mean, whenever traffic leaves that particular branch, that's an out. So you can see the traffic path on a green signal and control plane on a updates. So as I said, that VH router which is connected with L4 to L7 service make the advertisement and service route on the OMP. It is this overall control plane is a concept of overlay management protocol with the service VPN label in which the firewall is actually connected. That is VPN level. Okay. And today in Cisco SD-WAN, the service insertion can be done for firewall and IPS only, and it could be in layer 3 or layer 2 inserted based concept. So with this, this particular slide speaks about how the service insertion or chaining happens in Cisco SD-WAN solution or architecture, right? So the next slide speaks about more on how that works on real practical scenario, which is I'm going to show you. I'll just explain you what exactly I am actually saying on this particular slide. So you can think about branch 1 where you have two edge devices, B1 BR1 and B2 BR2, along with a data center which is my co-location center with a firewall connected, and a branch 2. So my main motive is branch 1 devices. I mean both the VH1 and VH2 in branch 1 should not talk to branch 2 directly. Okay. So we are going to insert a service which is a data center, and the traffic need to go via firewall where the rules are controlled that branch 1 should talk to branch 2, and it can say that the firewall can block also at time when it is required, right? So these are the devices which we are going to ping, and they have the IP address like 10.4.0.1 for branch 2 and 10.3.0.1 and 10.3.0.2 for VHS device at branch 1 level. And firewall IP address, you can just note it down, it is 10.2.0.1, which is going to come in our traffic when we are going to apply the policy. So all these things are connected, and they are having all these things are connected with some sort of transport medium of MPLS or internet, and we are going to do the testing on VPN 10 as a service VPN for this Viptela. So first scenario would be branch 1 would be directly talking to branch 2 without any firewall insertion. I mean it's a full mesh technology or topology you can say, and then all of a sudden with some magic will happen with some policy applied, boom, like a flashlight will appear and the traffic will be redirected to your data center firewall, and that would be like a no piece of it, like a charm. It will happen. You don't need to apply or rack your mind to apply any policy based routing or any redirection of routing traffic, and you apply all those things. Nothing need to be done. I'll just show you what how the policy will run for you, and how easy is that actually. I'll explain you that also. So let's see the live demo. Directly we'll jump onto our Viptela session. So just bear with me. Yeah. So this particular page, what you're seeing is, this is the dashboard of vManage, where you can see that we are having one vSmart controller and 7 VH devices and one vBond orchestrator, right? So you can think that I have a template which is configured. I'll just show you from the start what exactly, which is called DC2 template with service insertion. So I've created one service insertion policy or the template. So I'll just show you what is that particular one. So when you create a template, you need to define under the service VPN in which service VPN you want to call out the firewall or service insertion. You can see that this is the one where we have created a service firewall. Just the key is to catch here is that when you create this particular template, you just need to make sure under the service you're calling out the firewall. So you see this is the firewall. And we're calling out to be an IP address which we have already configured and it's ready in our setup right now with a firewall IP address 10.2.0.1. Okay, so with this one, this is a template which is already pushed onto our DC firewalls, DC devices, and firewall is already connected. Now let's go and see the policies. So I have created a policy called firewall insertion between your between traffic, you can say, right? So firewall policy can be of two types. So we have created one policy of data traffic called firewall between branch 1 and branch 2. So what this firewall policy actually speaks. If you edit this policy, it says very simple. It's an application firewall type. So what it's saying is source data prefix list is my data's prefix of branch 1 and the destination is branch 2. The action is drop. And vice versa, I've just created another policy that source, if it is branch 2 also initiated traffic and destination to branch 1, it also gets dropped. Okay, so I've created one policy and the same policy I have just I've just used as an firewall insertion traffic as an assembler, where I have applied, like you see this one, this has been applied on, this was a policy what I've created, firewall BR2-BR1, it's applied on out direction on all the branches. Okay, so all the branches mean branch 1 and branch 2. So this is what the policy we have created. We have created one policy. Okay, so bear with me, it's just loading, maybe some, yeah. So you can see that this was a policy which was created and this has been called on our assembler policy. Okay, so which has been created. Now before even applying this policy, let's see how the traffic pattern is actually. So see, this particular one is our VH branch 2. Okay, so if you see this branch 2 VH device, it is having an IP address of 10.4.1, right? And you can just close it down, few things, yeah. So this was the branch 1 VH1, so the IP address for this is 10.3. Okay, and this is the VH2 where the IP address is 10.3.2. Now if you see the tracer route VPN 10 for 10.4.0.1, which is my branch 2 IP address, you can see this, it goes super. Seems to be some problem. Okay, let's troubleshoot this one. What's happened? Let me just see. Let's do some troubleshooting. 10 dot trace route VPN 10.3.0.1. So it's working, so it's going directly. Why that is not working? So just see it, trace route VPN 10.4.0.1. Yeah, it's going actually. It's taking some time actually. I don't know why it is not working with this one. Let's see what is the mistake. Seems to be some problem with this VH. But anyway, for our time, we won't waste time for this particular demo. We will just see in this one. So you can see this is actually going directly. Okay, and this is also going directly. Now our policy, what we have created, that this firewall need to come. So we are just going to activate this. So when you activate a policy from your vManage, it actually goes to your vSmart controller. So this is my vSmart controller, and then you activate it from the controller, and the controller will then push the policies onto your VH devices. I mean, like I said, it was to all the branches. So in my setup, I have two branches, branch 1 and branch 2. So it will be applied to all the VHs on those branches on the out direction. So now which the traffic earlier which was going directly to your VH devices, I mean to say that to your directly onto your other branch, it should now go to your data center. Voila. You can see that the firewall has now inserted just with a simple policy click. And let's see from the branch 1 also how things happen is super. You can see the power of service insertion. So now you can think about all the permutation and combination and how cost effective you can put up a solution actually. Let's see if things happens from branch 1 vs2. Will that work? Let's finger. No, some problem with this. Just leave this one for the time being. So you can see that this particular firewall has been inserted effortlessly just with some few policy click. Let's see some IP routes also on branch 1. So super. So see, this is now going to your data center as a traffic. And let's see what is happening with this one. The branch 2, super. See, it's actually going to your data center, and the traffic pattern is now redirected to your data center firewall, which is 10.2.0.1 in our architecture, and it is actually going, and the service has been inserted. Now you have a controlled way of handling the traffic. Okay, so you can see, so irrespective of the outbound traffic from branch 1 or branch 2, the traffic is actually going to your data center firewall. So you can now have a better user performance, and you can have a cost effective solution, and you can think about better way of solutioning your service chaining. So with this particular live demo, and I've just given you some highlight on high level view of service chaining and what benefit it can give you as a balanced security if you want to think about, and what all the, you can see that the Cisco SD-WAN solution, how the service chaining has been leveraged by Cisco SD-WAN, and with a live demo with some traffic redirection and traffic magic happening between two branch location with firewall being inserted with some easy policy make applied from a vManage, and vSmart actually applies to on the policy. So overall presentation, I just want to wrap up with saying thank you. So I would like to request you, please add comments on the videos so that I can improve my video for upcoming technology discussions more on other technologies like SDN or SD-WAN or SDA in future, and I can add based on your comment what you want to me to do as a part of improvement also. And it's an technology wise video, so I would like to seek your involvement in adding more and more what can be done with respect to technology. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe the video for more talks and more videos I can upload in future. Thank you very much.